Welcome back to Twin Tarot. I'm Gary, and this is not David. So I spoke to Dave earlier today. His back is still really bothering him. So he's going to be sidelined for a couple more days. So it's you and me. Yay! Okay, so I got a couple of readings I want to do that I'm going to record tonight. It's Monday. It's March 17th. It's about 7:45. The first reading I want to do is looking at the checks and balances of our government. Right now, our checks and balances are under attack by Trump and his administration. In Congress, he's going after the House of Representatives, or Congress's purse. The power of the purse belongs to Congress, but Trump is trying to either block spending. The Congress will appropriate spending, then Trump doesn't execute on it. And there are mechanisms where he can legally do that, but there are processes you have to follow, and Congress has to go along with it. Otherwise, within a certain period of time, you have to execute the appropriations that Congress has made. And a law went into effect in 1974 because Nixon was doing the same thing because he didn't like what some of the things that Congress came forward with. He didn't like how Congress was appropriating money, and so Congress basically passed what was it called? It was called the Congressional Budget and Impoundment Control Act in 1975 to prevent Nixon from blocking appropriations that Congress made. Trump is now taking that to whole nother level. And there was Senator Kevin Cramer from North Dakota basically dismissed it as saying, oh, that's just Trump testing the limits of his executive powers. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here. Let's go on with our day. The other thing he's been doing is, challenging our judiciary system. The recordings that came out on Monday was about Trump putting a bunch of alleged gang members on some airplanes and sending them off to El Salvador to go to a supermax prison. No due process. We don't know anything about these guys at the time of filming. And it was in direct violation of a federal judge's order to not do it and to turn those airplanes around. And basically, they gave a middle finger. Trump said basically his White House counsel told him that counsel says that I can ignore you. Those planes were in international waters and I didn't have to turn them around, so we just sent them anyways. The judge was not pleased. J.D. Vance has said on a couple occasions that basically judges aren't allowed to control the executive branch's legitimate power, and that Trump should stand before the country like Andrew Jackson did and say, the Chief Justice has made his ruling, let him try and enforce it. Okay, if that's not an attack on the checks and balances, I don't know what is. All right, MAGA's all thrilled. Oh, he's handling the border problem. He's getting rid of all these gang members. He's shutting down corrupt judges that are trying to stop him from doing what he needs to do. They keep giving him a pass, and we're on a real slippery slope, and it's dangerous as hell. What's going on now is dangerous as hell. And there was a quote that I'm going to read. Stand by. It was a quote from Martin Niemöller. I think this is back in the 30s when he did this quote. No, it was after World War II. So in the 40s he did this. And basically, here's the quote. First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. And that's kind of the slippery slope we're on. MAGA's out there cheering this on, but these guys had rights. There was no due process. their rights were ignored. We don't even know if they were actually guilty of any crimes or if they are actually members of gangs. I mean, there's so little information right now. And they just sent them off to El Salvador. It's not even their home country. We're in trouble. And the checks and balances are under threat. The judge told them to turn that airplane around, and they just gave them the middle finger and said, we're going to do it anyways. What are you going to do to stop us? So I want to take a look at our checks and balances and do a reading on that. There was a lot of heat that the Democrats received, certainly in our comment section, about approving the continuing resolution. But something to be considered was if they had shut the government down, the federal courts would have shut down too. And that's the only branch of government that's sticking up for us right now. And so if they shut that down, Trump wouldn't even have the court system telling him that he couldn't do it. I mean, granted, he's ignoring what they're telling him, but he would just have complete carte blanche to do what he wants. So as distasteful as that continuing resolution was, probably it was a smart decision to pass it. So let's take a look at our checks and balances. Current energy on the checks and balances. Will the checks and balances hold under what's currently happening, or are we in trouble? What do we need to know about the checks and balances? Entertainment purposes only. Okay, so foundation of the reading is the justice card. Certainly our judicial system right now is the only check and balance that seems to be working in our favor. The challenge is the high priestess, keeper of secrets, divine feminine knowledge, ask the right question, get the right answer. The challenge here is they don't have an answer for Trump's actions, because that was never envisioned that someone would try and do this. And it's not just that he's testing the waters. He's testing the waters, and when they say no, he does it anyways. It's like having a parent that doesn't know how to discipline a child. They weren't prepared for this level of rebellion. Underneath it all, the checks and balances is the Queen of Cups. It's bottling up their emotions, and they're looking at this behavior, and they're trying to be the adults in the room, but right now that's really pissing them off. And I'm going to focus on the judiciary right now, because this is kind of where it seems it's heading right now. Because the Republicans in Congress think it's great. The judicial system, maybe not so much. In the past, the Knight of Cups, making it could be this is kind of the false friend, where Trump's like, don't worry, he had his ideas, but I'm going to follow. He had a quote that said, well, basically, if the courts give a ruling, I'm going to follow the ruling. Well, that turned out to not be true. Current energy is the Queen of Wands. The courts have so many cases right now. There's so much action going on in the courts because Trump is flooding them, and he's trying to. It's like that Gish Gallop type of debating that he does, where he just throws a bunch of garbage at his opponent and lets the opponent try and sift through what's real and what's not real. In the meantime, he's just doing everything to gum up the works. Overarching energy is the Page of Pentacles. It's like, we need to value our checks and balances. They bring value. But right now, we're kind of, we need a stronger card than the Page. The Page is a young boy, and he's fighting against someone that's not fighting fair. Lesson to be learned is the Three of Wands. So the Three of Wands. Okay, so I could take that a couple different ways. Since we're looking at the kind of the checks and balances for the judiciary, they have to look out to the future. They can't be reactionary. They can't do a knee-jerk reaction. Their approach and their solutions have to be thoughtful and long-term in view, because just because they want to do something to stop Trump, they could blunt legitimate actions of future presidents, or he'll just come up with a different way around it. So they have to come up with rulings that have long-term impacts. The outcome is the world. It's the end of a cycle. So I think what this is saying is that the current system of checks and balances is not going to work. That we're at the end of this cycle, and we got to come up with a different long-term plan, because the current plan is not working. Because we have someone that isn't interested in having it applied to them, quite frankly. It's scary. So now let's do a little shuffle here. Okay. And, like I said, Congress, the Republicans think it's great. Woohoo! Trump's agenda, yay! Making America great again. If Trump controls the purse, why do we even have a Congress? We don't need you. I mean, the House of Representatives under the Republicans hasn't passed one budget yet. They've all been continuing resolutions because it's so damn dysfunctional. Okay, let's take a look at Congress, power of the purse. Is Trump going to be successful in blunting Congress's check on him? Okay. Foundational reading is temperance, seeking a balance, not getting too emotional. Got to give a little, take a little. We want Trump to execute his agenda, but at the same time, we have a job to do that they're not doing. The challenge is, Queen of Wands, there's so much to do. He has so many things he wants Congress to do. But Congress, he doesn't have enough of a majority. Congress doesn't have enough of a majority to get all the things done that they want to get done. So they have to have some sort of balance. Underneath it all is the Ace of Pentacles. It's the money, baby. We want to grab the money. So is Trump going to grab the money? In the past, Seven of Cups, the whole illusions, delusions, confusions, this is his ability to manufacture false information and false precedent, and just believe his own baloney, as it were. Current energy, Five of Wands, chaos, disorder, disarray, disorganization. This is just, they can't even pass a budget, right? There's your continuing resolution card. Overarching energy is a Hierophant. Hey, I'm the chief executive. You do what I tell you to do. Take a knee, Congress and Senate. Kiss the ring. Lesson to be learned is the Sun. If you don't do your job and you keep fighting, you are going to lose your ability. You're going to lose your ability for checks and balances on the executive branch. It's very clear to those of us that don't vote for anyone that has an elephant next to their name, regardless of they're qualified or not, of what's going on. What's the outcome, though? Ace of Swords, sword of truth, sword of justice. It's basically, if you don't do your jobs and you just kiss the ring, you're going to lose your job. The checks and balances are going away. You're going to have a king, is what you're going to have. Okay, so that's not terribly encouraging, but also not terribly surprising, right? For entertainment purposes only, what the hell do I know? I'm just an old fart throwing cards, right? Okay, so let's get to the $64,000 question. Will our checks and balances emerge victorious? They may have to change, but will they survive Trump and Trump's actions? Come on, checks and balances. How are we going to enforce it, right? Okay, checks and balances are under attack. We probably need to come up with new checks and balances and stuff that's enforceable. will we be successful in modifying our checks and balances and coming up with checks and balances that are effective and enforceable and prevent future executive from doing what Trump is doing? Okay, foundation is the Two of Cups. Agreements coming basically seeing eye to eye and coming to agreements. The blue side and the red side coming together because they need to prevent Trump from doing what he's been doing. The challenge is the whole collaboration, trying to work together. Let's face it, there's a lot of folks in the House and, frankly, in the Senate where they have no interest in working with the Democrats. But if we are going to provide effective checks and balances that are enforceable, everyone needs to work together, and we have to consult each other and come up with an effective plan. If we do that, we can celebrate our victories. Once again, you've got the Democrats and the Republicans need to come together. In the past, we've got the Star. It's the kind of the best of democracy. It's the democracy is and I know there's some debate whether we have a democracy or if it's a representative democracy or republic, a republic. But at the end of the day, it's worked really well, and we need to put our strong emotions aside and do what's best for this country and its government. Current energy, the Knight of Cups. We need to make an offering. We need to put the emotions aside and come together for the benefit of the democracy. The overarching energy is the Five of Swords. This is a win at all costs. We need to know, we have to have the ability to fight someone that doesn't want us to ever stop fighting. And the checks and balances is how you do it. The lesson to be learned is the Eight of Swords. Right now, the checks and balances aren't working. And frankly, this is how I feel about it. How are we going to get through this? Our system is not set up for someone who's just going to willfully ignore the checks and balances and do whatever the F he wants to do. Okay. That's the lesson to be learned. There is a path out of this. The path is cooperation. The path is keeping the big picture together and let's drink from the cup of peace and prevent this steal from happening. The outcome, the King of Cups, is that being the master of your emotions and being in control and being the adult in the room and not letting your emotions get the better of you. Yes, we will have checks and balances in the future. And yes, they will be better and more effective than we have right now. Tarot's not good on timing. I don't know how long this is going to take, but it's going to happen. So it's very difficult what we're going through right now. I'm frustrated. You're frustrated. We're all feeling a lot of anxiety. We're seeing our civil rights being trampled. There's been a lot of speculation in the comments section that Trump is purposely trying to poke the bear to get us to start protesting and so he can declare martial law and then really shut things down. And there may be a certain amount of truth to that. I can't say that I disagree that might not be part of his longer term plan. So that's what we got. Let's start this. Let's start the closing with a quick secret card for all of you who are still here. Now, we do a secret card at the end of every single reading. So if you've been popping off early, you're missing out on a lot of fun. So today's secret card is the Eight of Pentacles. We need to be hard at work defending our democracy, defending our checks and balances, supporting each other. It's very hard right now what we're going through. I don't think any of us thought we were going to sign up for this. We thought we were going to get Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and do leprechaun kicks, right? But apparently that's someone changed the script when we weren't looking. So thank you all for watching. If you like these videos, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe. We put out a new video every night at midnight. Leave a comment. I read every single comment. I literally read every single comment, and I respond to many. And we also give some shout outs. So today I'm going to give out shout outs to a few people that have been very active in the comment section, who have left pithy comments that I just wanted to give a nod to, or has just said, I really want to comment because I used to watch Romper Room and they never said my name either, which I totally get. So the first is for Maureen D'Amico. Maureen, you got the sun card. What a wonderful card. Here comes the sun. Brighten somebody's day, Maureen. And then for Betty Smith, oh dear. Betty Smith has a 10 of swords. Do not mess with Betty Smith, man. She'll put the sword into you if you mess with her. Hope you're having a great day, Betty Smith. Don't want to be on your bad side. Pauline Espinosa. Okay, Pauline, here's your card. Oh, we got the Tower card for Pauline Espinosa. So, Pauline, you see something that's not built on a strong foundation, feel free to knock it down, because that's what the Tower would want you to do. It's, rebuild something. Right now, our checks and balances, it's a Tower moment for them. We need to rebuild them because Trump is proving that they're not effective against someone like him. Terry Heinrich. Terry Heinrich, you get the King of Swords. Woo-hoo-hoo! Don't mess with Terry Heinrich. Terry's going to tell you exactly how it is. This is what you did. This is why you did it. And this is the consequence of you doing that. And then I'm going to do two more. One for Virginia Taylor. 6 of Pentacles. Virginia Taylor. It's a very nice card. This is about giving back. Give back to the people around you. Sometimes it doesn't have to be monetary. It could just be a kind word. It could be a phone call. It could just be waving at somebody. Just make someone's day a little bit better and brighter just by being you. And then finally for Eleanor Wittering. Yay! Eleanor was on the live stream with June today. And she said that she wanted a shout out. So, okay, I'll give Eleanor a shout out. Eleanor, oh, hey, you get the 2 of Cups. You're the foundation of our reading, Eleanor. Thank you for being there for June. And thank you for being there for us. And we hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I'll catch you next time. Bye.